I'm going to make a long video. I'm going to take up the whole 15 minutes. I'm not going to edit this to make it shorter. People who have a desire to hear this will stay throughout the whole video, and those who weren't meant to hear it won't. It's just not their moment. So, I want to talk about conflict within yourself. The mind is just conflict. The mind itself is conflict. The mind itself is judgment. The mind itself is identification, prejudices. It cuts reality into pieces and compartmentalizes it. It compares. The mind pretty much makes you miserable. And there comes a point where it dawns on you that it's a prison. The mind is a prison. And you have identified yourself with the mind. So you are the prison. And so it doesn't matter how much you dress up the prison, rearrange the furniture, it's still a prison. So you get temporary relief from this prison, or within this prison, I should say, by manifesting your desires. Okay, you were sad and now you're happy, right? You're going to be sad again. You're going to desire something again. You want a new partner. You lose a partner. You want a bigger house, and then you lose your house. You were poor, now you're rich, and then you lose everything, and then you're poor, and then you're sad again. Maybe you commit suicide. This mind can become such a hell that eventually you start to want to break out of the prison. And you start searching for someone or something or some experience that can get you out of the prison. So when this dawns on you that you are the prison, some sort of it's by grace alone that you start to look higher than yourself. Call it God, call it a spiritual master, call it what you will. The master comes in physical form to teach you how to break out of this prison. And the master can come in many different ways. It doesn't always have to come as a person in robes. The master can come in many different forms. I'll just leave it at that. So you're no longer wanting to dress up and rearrange the furniture in the prison. You are now all about liberation. The Christians would call it salvation, right? That's why they're like, I've been saved. Now, they think that they're saved after this death, after this life, right? But there's no such thing as after. There's literally only now. And whatever you think is after will be only now. There's nowhere else. Nothing else exists. So, your spiritual search starts to become less about healing, although healing is a never-ending journey and will continue to happen. It becomes less about getting the things or the whatever you think you're lacking, getting the things you want, or achieving the things you want to achieve, or going wherever you want to go. It starts to become about freedom. It starts to become about liberation. It starts to become about eternal peace, eternal fulfillment, eternal what never leaves, what doesn't come and go. What is the truth? It starts to become about truth. And everyone is at different stages on their spiritual journey, whether in this life or in their other lives that they've lived in the past. You're either a fruit that is ripe to fall off the tree, or you're completely asleep at the wheel, and that's just your destiny right now. That's your karmic destiny, is to be asleep at the wheel and maybe going through little awakenings over a lifetime. There's no judgment on anyone's path. The right people that are meant to hear the truth in what I'm saying, the truth that's being said, will resonate on such a deep level that it's undeniable. You'll know. What is liberation? Liberation is the realization of God, the realization of truth, the realization of your true nature. And you can't find that in a book. You can't find that in a scripture. Although some things in books and scriptures and teachers point to it. But that's more mind stuff. That's more of the prison, right? Because you can get to know all this stuff. You can get to understand all this stuff. But it's not your experience. And it becomes undeniable who's really experienced, or is experiencing, or is the experience of the truth, and who just knows it up here, or might have a deeper understanding and they're very scholarly and they can talk on and on and on. But it really is about how the realization comes through your behavior. it comes through the transmission of how people feel around you, how you feel. It becomes not about what you know, but the quality of your being. You can take photographs of, no, the better way of saying this would be, you can know everything there is about honey, but have you tasted it? Have you had many different types of honey that you've tasted? Like, you know the different varieties. Do you know where the honey comes from? Have you acquainted yourself with the hive? Have you... Helicopter. Have you looked the queen bee in the eye? There's not just one kind of enlightenment. Just as there's no individual that's the same individual. Like, everyone has their own unique perfume, their own unique fragrance, their own unique expression of their individuality. The same is true of liberation, of enlightenment, self-realization. So, some might be just in unconditional love. Some might be silent, that there's a silence, deep silence, stillness. And sometimes these things change, right? You go through different phases. Sometimes these things deepen, sometimes thoughts are there, and sometimes there's no thought at all. Sometimes you're perceiving from a bigger, like a higher vantage point, as though you're looking at everyone and everything, and like as though you're not really like kind of disassociated, right? But blissfully disassociated. Or you might be just witnessing, like silent, like, right? Or sometimes you might just be really present with the experience, right? And then sometimes thoughts are coming, right? And you're just seeing them, right? But you're not attaching to them. Or you're experiencing different personalities within yourself clashing with each other, right? Spiritual growth is about becoming more and more and more awake to deeper and deeper, subtler aspects of yourself. Not but self, you realize it's all the self, right? There's no self and there's all the self. No self meaning like there's really no individual. But yet, yeah, that's too complicated to get into. It's both. It's both. Everything exists and doesn't exist. You're a person, yet not a person. You're nothing, yet everything. You're empty, yet full. This becomes a paradoxical experience that makes sense. But it makes sense here, not here. And the problem is, well, it's not a problem, but people go on their spiritual journeys here, and it never lands here. So the opening of the heart is the bridge.